Hello, everyone. My name's Carmelle, and I'm here today with the beautiful Mel Mensinger. And we're here to hear all about Mel's story because it's just an incredible story. And by all accounts, you probably shouldn't even be sitting here today, really, should you? She should be 6 feet under. So, with no further ado, here is Mel, and we're going to start having a little chat, and I hope you enjoy today. Okay, Mel, hi, welcome,
Hey.
and thank you for being here.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you
I
for
love it.
agreeing.
Thank you for having me.
I was just so impressed with when I saw you only about a month ago after the events of everything that we'll talk about today. But just to give a little bit of history about who you are, can you just tell me a little bit about who you were prior to August the 3rd last year?
Well, I was some German who came over here to this country 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a job, which I loved.
Mm-hmm.
I was hiking at the weekend, cooking and baking during the week. They were my hobbies. Meeting friends, just living a normal life like pretty much anybody out there.
Yep.
Without family. But I guess the friends I made here became my family.
Mm-hmm.
And FaceTiming home to Germany, just living a normal life,
Mm-hmm.
full hiking at weekends, camping, day trips, weekend trips, holidays, like everyone else. Full in life and enjoying it and loving it.
Judging by your Instagram account, which I've had a really good look through because, it's amazing. Great on the
Yeah.
camera too. So your life was very full. You
It was.
traveled a lot.
Yes.
And you were always surrounded with beautiful people.
Yes.
And doing really fun things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and Pilates, you came into Pilates because when did I meet you? I can't remember how long.
A year and a half
before.
ago.
A year and a half, yeah.
Yeah, I had a fall on one of my hikes,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very lucky there too.
Yeah.
And one of the guys who was behind and saw how I fell and nearly smacked my head, he said, "Oh, you need to," I had a cramp, and he said, "Are you doing stretches?" And I said, "What do you mean stretches?" And he said, "Well, what are you doing sort of for your ligaments and all that?" And I said, "For your core strength." And I said, "Nothing really." And then my colleague in Brisbane, she said, "Well, I go to Pilates Reformer." And that's how it started.
Oh, right.
And then I went on the phone to a couple, but didn't really get the feel for it. And that's when I then started going to Fernwood.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And that's how we met. That's where I met you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And you were doing great. You were loving your classes.
We had a little social club there, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and we were the queens of legs and straps, and that was our thing, wasn't it? Legs and straps.
That's right. Yep, feet and straps. Everyone loves that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's our favorite. And we were the queens, and we had our little club. I loved it. I loved everything. Every night I was there. Loved it.
And then one day you came to class as normal and it would have been a Tuesday or a
Saturday.
A Saturday. Oh, a Saturday.
Yeah.
And it was the 3rd of August. Saturday, the 3rd of August.
Yeah.
And we had just finished feet in straps.
I didn't know about this, by the way. She told me this later.
Yeah. Mel doesn't remember much about this day.
No.
So we were just finishing a sequence and then we were changing. And the other ladies, you took your feet out of the straps and you got ready to change position as I was instructing the class to do. And then you went down on your reformer bed into a child's pose stretch. And we were getting ready to start the next sequence and you were still down. And I came over and I think you'd had something tight that day and I thought you were stretching it out. And I said, put my hand on your back and said, "You're just having a bit of a stretch, are you, Mel?" And you didn't answer me. And so I left you alone for a minute. I thought, oh, maybe she's just having a moment. It's like, stretching it. Just leave me alone. So I left you alone for a minute. I came back again and I bent down and I said, is there anything I can do? You okay? And still no response. And the lady on the other side of you said, her mouth doesn't seem right. And I don't think everything's right. And that's when we sounded the alarm and we were like, okay, something's wrong. So we contacted front desk. We got an ambulance on the way. And during the course of these beautiful women that you did this reformer class with, they were all around. It was like a team of angels around you. So together we started to monitor your pulse and your breathing, and we gently lifted you off the bed, popped you on the floor in the recovery position until the ambulances got there. And 4 ambulances arrived. We ended up having the paramedic ambulance as well. So in this time, your pulse was going in and out, your breathing was going in and out. We were like, you were unstable from that stage. We didn't know what had happened. And anyway, so the ambulance guys worked on you for quite some time before you were taken to Westmead. And you remember a little bit about that, don't you? About being taken to Westmead.
I don't remember at all at that day. I only remember 3 weeks later.
Right.
At Westmead.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we were taken to Westmead, and the ambulance they diagnosed. Did they say that you had a brain aneurysm at that stage?
No, at that point nobody knew what was wrong with me.
No. Mm-hmm.
So I then went into the emergency room, and at that point there was nobody there. I was the only patient. They then obviously called my emergency contact from my phone.
Mm-hmm.
She called my friend who has the key to my house,
mm-hmm.
who then dropped everything and, like a bat out of hell, raced over to Westmead.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky again.
Yeah.
And he was with me and the team at that time in the A&E.
Great.
Then an accident came in, and all the doctors and nurses obviously then went over to see that patient.
Mm-hmm.
So I was with Brian, and I was with him on my own.
Yeah, and that's your friend, Brian?
That's my friend, yeah. Mm-hmm. And he told me this afterwards. He said, you were having a headache, and it wasn't just a little bit of a headache. It was so bad that he walked over to the group then and said, listen, something needs to be done about Mel. And he had to do that twice.
Mm-hmm.
And the second time he had to be quite forceful for them to stop what they're doing, to take me, and they then say, okay, right off, we have to go to theatre.
Mm-hmm.
And then they took me to theatre. At this stage, nobody knew what was wrong with me because physically there was no signs of anything. And then they took me up to theatre. They drilled a hole in my head.
Wow.
And did a little diagnostic and noticed that I had a ruptured aneurysm.
Right.
That was where the pain came from.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so they fixed that with 3 coils. And whilst they were fixing that, I had a stroke.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Which was quite traumatic. So they then put me in an induced coma. They said first for 2 weeks. And then they woke me up after 1 week to see the damage that would have been done. Then when they woke me up again, that's when they noticed I had a bilateral pulmonary embolism. They fixed that. They put with thrombectomy, and then they put an IVC filter in. And then, then I was put back on the ward under observation, of course.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Of course.
And Brian said, you were always in front of the nurses' station. Your room was always right in front of the nurses' station because for the whole 3 weeks, they worked on me pretty much every day. My neurologist told me that. He said to me after, many weeks later on a follow-up appointment, he said, I worked on you pretty much every day for 3 weeks doing something. And I never knew when I went to work in the morning if you were still going to be there.
Wow.
As in if you were still going to be alive.
So it was touch and go?
Yes, many times.
Every day?
Many times. He said, and this is what they do. They talk to you like it's just natural. They say to you, well, I worked on you every day almost for 3 weeks, and I never knew if you were going to still be alive, and you had seizures, and you nearly died on me several times. Wow. Yes.
And you were obviously in an induced coma for a lot of that time.
Yes.
Do you remember coming out of the coma at any stage, like in between when you came out? No, okay.
No,
so that's all a blur.
I can't remember any of that. The only thing I remember from Westmead is being in my room, and they were all very friendly. I remember that. Everybody came in all the time. That's what I remember from being in Westmead. I remember getting up very early in the morning because you wake up. It's very noisy in the hospital, and they're always coming in checking. So you're always awake, having a shower and sitting down because I was so weak from having had this trauma and not using my body at all. And I was obviously also fed intravenously
Yes.
because I couldn't take any solid food.
Mm.
So I was very, very weak. And I had to
Mm.
sit down to shower because I was
Mm.
so weak.
Mm.
And I could barely move the shower head over my head. I remember that.
Wow.
And
No strength at all.
no strength at all.
Mm.
And at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then you just spent the whole day waiting
In bed.
in bed.
Yeah.
Waiting in bed. Yes.
So your body was doing all of the energy of your body was going towards healing.
Yes.
So
It
it's not
definitely
going to
was.
bother about much else except healing,
Yes.
is it? And so you
Yes.
must have a very efficient healing system for it to do that.
Yes.
So you're pretty. It's pretty miraculous that you're sitting here. I mean, because the brain aneurysm, if that had happened in the car, who knows? You probably wouldn't be here today.
Even you, I must say that at this time, if you had taken longer, we would also not be here.
Wow.
Because it's TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody played a big role in my recovery.
Yeah.
You were the first there.
Mm-hmm.
If you had taken longer or anything you had noticed or whatever, I would not be here now.
Yeah.
I will know that for sure. Certainly not in this condition I am now.
No.
Which
is so surprising.
Yes. Yes. And I've just been so unlucky it happened, but so lucky that it all went how it did go.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. So the brain aneurysm didn't get you, the stroke didn't get you, and the double bilateral pulmonary embolism didn't get you.
Nope.
So you tapped me on the shoulder in class the other day. I was busy doing something on your first class back, and I would just, it was like I was seeing an angel. I was just blown away. You could have knocked me over with a feather when you came back. And the condition that you've come back in.
Yes.
So it was like a month in hospital and then a month in rehab.
Yes.
And that was it.
That was it.
That's unbelievable in itself. I think. Anyway, you hear about people having to recover for sometimes years with therapy after therapy after therapy, learning to talk again. But you've got no droops, you've got nothing, your hands are, and you've passed 2 5-hour psych assessments for working and with no problems. So, I mean, that would have been traumatic and stressful. But you're capable of everything except for a little bit of short-term memory, you were saying. That's the only thing.
I mean, also on top of that, when you've had a stroke, you have to tell New South Wales Services that you have had a stroke.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the service centre because I could take the bus, as you can't drive. You are reliant on public transport. So I took the bus to North Rocks and I queued there and I told them all about it. They give you a form, then you take another bus to your GP who has to fill out the form and stamp it. Then you go back to North Rocks, they take the form and they look and they go, okay. And within a second, that yellow strip on your driver's license, which shows you have a full license, turns green to learners.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you've got to start from learner again.
You have to start from learner again. And they give you, not only that, they give you 6 months to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't made it. Anyway, so yes, so you then go back in the bus with you can't drive. I mean, I couldn't drive anyway because I needed to do this neuropsych assessment. But you have to do a driver's test again with a qualified driving instructor with their, dual pedals.
Yep.
So he brings his car and the occupational therapist in the back of the car, noting down everything you're doing.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
They're pretty strict.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, which is good.
They told me at Auburn. I said, oh, really? Yes, yeah. Apparently somebody was signed off and got in his car and promptly drove on the wrong side of the road.
Oh, wow. Okay. So there's a reason
yes.
they're so strict.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that made sense.
It does. I'm glad that they do that.
Yeah.
We don't want to,
And it was amazing when I finally, after all the stress, because it obviously takes a long time, and I hadn't driven for 8 months when I took the test. So you're in a new car. You are obviously nervous. I watched videos all weekend preparing for the test, and there's some great videos online. Because I was going, I don't need to watch videos. My friend Carlos, he said, you need to watch videos. I said, I don't need to watch videos. I've been driving 37 years. I took my driver's license in Germany. I don't need to
Mm.
watch any videos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I did.
Wow.
I can only
Yeah.
recommend it because there's so many rules.
Yes.
Like
There's so many-
driving off the curb, you indicate and then you drive off. You've got to wait 5 seconds. Do you know how long 5 seconds are when you're
It's a
sitting
long time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that would have been mistake number one.
Yeah. Okay.
You get observational mistakes, and there's a 3 allowed, and you're out.
Yeah.
So it was a very,
Mm.
a very, when you're nervous and everything is riding on you being able to drive again for your freedom.
Well, that's right. It's a big part of your freedom, isn't it?
So I was very, very, the stone that fell off my heart is what we say in Germany, when something is keeping you, worried about something.
Yeah.
You have a stone on your heart, weighing you down. When that stone was gone, when I had my license back,
your shoulders dropped, your face lit up. Yeah.
I was sitting in this bus back home, smiling. I was so happy. I didn't even care I was in a bus.
Yeah.
Although I hate buses.
Yeah.
I didn't even care. I had my license back. I had my freedom back. It was, I never thought I would reach my age. And after all these years driving all over the world, living all over the world, all of a sudden having to take your driving test again.
Exactly. That's right. So at the age of 55,
yes,
yep, your life has been completely turned upside down. Okay.
Yes.
So tell me how you feel after, because I just know, without even asking you, but even though I have spoken to you, I know that it would have been a life-altering experience. It would have been like a catalyst and a fork in your road to make you sit back and, probably not even consciously, but subconsciously, take stock of where you are in your life and what you want in your life. How do you navigate that?
The first thing when this happens, you think, oh my God, why me? Why did it happen to me? And you then have a medical team around you, and they all have their explanations. But unfortunately, for the ruptured aneurysm, it's just unlucky. Because I was trying, could I have prevented this? What can I do so for this not to happen again? And we said, no. My neurologist said it was just unlucky.
Yeah.
But again, then I was very lucky with everything else. So yes, and it's and then you start thinking, okay, once that's gone, you don't know why. You have to let that go. Then you have friends around you who take you shopping, who call in on you, and it's, when you live on your own, it's it can get a little lonely. I was never lonely before, and I'm not really lonely now. But that's because you're out and about living your life, working, experiencing great adventures, being mobile, being out there,
taking everything for granted.
Yes,
everything in life, but also being very happy. I mean, you had a very full life, and you looked, you were happy. You're a happy person.
I was.
So now, do you find that you're questioning things or reevaluating things?
I mean, even when I was a few months ago, I was thinking, when I couldn't drive in particular, I've got a German driver's license, shall I just go back home to Germany?
Yeah.
That was only a fleeting moment, though, because I don't want to pack all my stuff up again.
Yeah.
That's the same reason I didn't leave last time.
Yeah.
It is. You go through a very ups and downs. The key was to find that little bit of strength you have, and find fun and enjoyment with the smallest of things. When you are spiraling into overthinking, I think that is probably, I'm an overthinker anyway. Oh no, I'm not an overthinker, but I am a thinker. So with this experience, it made me overthink, and then you're spiraling. So you have to find ways of breaking that spiral. May that just be going outside for a walk, and just changing, even getting up from whatever you're doing and leaving the room and going into a different room, or having a shower, or going into the garden, or picking up your cat. I finally got my cat back in October.
Oh, you both would have been very happy about that.
Oh, well, I am happy. I don't know about him, but I am definitely happy. But he wasn't there. So you come home after that. first of all, you come home to a house that's nobody's been in for 2 months, really. You know, posters there and things you left behind. Because when I left that morning, I didn't think about it. I put my gear on, I came to see you, and that's all I was thinking about. I didn't think I would be 2 months later.
Yeah, I know. Well, even one of your friends had to come and bring your car home. You
Yes.
know, all the little things.
Yes.
But, yeah.
So that was in the garage, and they put a special battery on for it not to run out of battery.
Okay.
So everybody.
Yeah, you had angels. You had a team of angels around
I did.
you. That's for
Yes.
sure. Yeah. But you know, coming out the other side of something like that, I can imagine that you would be having a bit of a soul searching time. You know, because are things the same? Have you gone back and everything's the same, or is everything the same, but you've got a new perspective on things?
Nothing is really the same anymore.
Wow.
I think
it is, but not for you.
yes.
Because you've been you've been somewhere.
Yes.
You've been in another dimension, is what I sort of believe that you've been in. You must have been somewhere, right?
Yeah, I must have been.
Yeah.
For me, obviously, life stopped on the 3rd of August. Everybody's life carried on.
Yeah.
And
you had a reset.
I had a reset.
Yeah.
And as I say, the license was the first one to get back. And that gives you a little bit of freedom, or no, full freedom, but a little bit of happiness.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're missing. If you are in this, all the fun you are having all the time, like you have your reformer, you've got your Pilates, you've got your meditation, you've got all that.
And my family and my children.
And your family. Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you're all alone, you have to find fun, squeeze the little bit of fun out of whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And you have friends. And we did so many crazy things. You know, painting. We even got some paint in a party or something it's called, like canvases to paint on.
Yeah.
We got some food in, girls' night in. And it was just so we all wanted something different and to be together. And people even who were on the fringes before, like in the hiking group, they all of a sudden called me on my birthday.
Nice.
In January was my birthday, and she called and said, "Hey, you must be feeling lonely.
Yeah.
Do you want to go for coffee?"
Oh, nice.
I could have hugged her. Well, I did hug her.
Yeah.
Because everybody's life carries on, and you've got to kind of give them that too. Although you want to be with them and spend time with them or talk to them, you can't, because their life carries on.
That's right. Yeah.
So that it was a long, very long journey. For me, it was a long journey, and I'm looking back at it now and I go, wow, that went in a flash. But I remember being in it. It was, it dragged.
Yeah, yeah. So you're slowly working your way back into the things. Have you been out hiking again?
Yes.
Camping. You've been camping.
I've been camping a couple of times.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see, hey, can I still follow instructions? And you know, putting up a tent is hard as it is when you don't do it regularly.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see if I can still do it, and I did. You know,
awesome. Yeah.
But even packing your car.
Yeah.
Remember the first time camping, I didn't even have my car. I had to distribute my things all over everybody's car. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
I'm not going camping again unless everything is in my car.
You've got responsibility for your own things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's, can I just borrow your car? Or can I just borrow the car key? You're permanently running around between cars now. So I'm not doing that again. That's on the record now. And I could do it.
So life is slowly getting back on track now. But this is several months later. We're in April now, April 23rd today.
Yeah.
And this is from August. So you came out of rehab in October.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from then on, it's been this journey. So that's been, that's that many months now. And you seem amazing now. As you said, there's been the downward spirals. You've been able to pick yourself up into upward spirals.
Yes.
Navigate through.
Yes.
People are slowly coming back, and you're feeling like you can accept them into your life. But there's also, like, can you say that in 5 years you can probably see yourself having, from this experience, maybe having chosen different paths from this experience in your life moving forward? Do you find yourself questioning some of the things that you used to like or take for granted or think that made you happy?
I seem to have lost a tiny little bit of myself in this whole. I used to be a really carefree, happy person, and along the line, and I don't know where it is. I hope I find it again, though. It must be still out there.
Mm.
Even though I come across very funny and cheerful,
Mm-hmm.
I used to have an inner strength, an
Mm.
inner confidence,
Mm-hmm.
which I think that's one thing you lose first because of all these things happening. You have no power over anything.
Mm.
That confidence you lose.
Mm.
And I need to find that back.
Mm.
Also that childishness, that cuteness, that laughing about anything. I used to be very cheerful and
That inner child.
that inner
yeah.
child,
Mm.
that she's definitely hiding at the moment.
Okay.
And I want her back because I loved her. That made me.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I need to find her again.
Well, you've been through a massive trauma, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that, it can be shifted a little bit at a time. And, you commented when you walked in here on all my beautiful crystals and you could feel the beautiful energy.
Yes.
So is that something that you've always been able to feel, been a very energetic person?
No.
Or you really?
No.
It's something new.
Yes. And I'm
Wow.
going to get some myself because I need some advice on this because there is a reason why I didn't die. And I know this sounds really drastic, but I came close many times. And my work is obviously not done here.
I agree.
And everybody says that too, because I knocked on his door up there many times, desperately wanting to get in. And he said, no, your work isn't done. Get back down there. Yeah. So there is a reason for that. Yeah. So I'm much more receptive to that now because there's no way. I mean, the medical team at Westmead played a big part in my survival. And they take credit for the first 3 weeks. Yeah. But the rest of the journey is definitely done by me. And where I'm going from now is also just on me. And I now need to make the most out of, I need to celebrate a second birthday, I think. That's the 3rd of August now. Yeah. But I need to make something great out of my life now.
Yeah. Okay, that's wow.
Yes, I know.
Love that.
Well, otherwise, why waste my life? Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I need to do.
I mean, a sliding door moment. We could have been putting you in the ground and mourning the loss of your life. At 55 years young. With today, where our life expectancy is, can be whatever, 100.
Yeah.
So if you were to live to a ripe old age, how many decades would that have been cut short? But it wasn't cut short. No. So this sliding door moment, one way would have been putting you down in the ground, or putting you up at his door and him accepting you in the door. Yeah. The other one is like, no, your work's not done, but you know that your work's not done, but you just don't know what it is yet.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly right.
I like that. So now it's a journey of, and personally, I've been through my, dark nights of the soul in my life too. And in hindsight, I've learned to get very excited. And some people think I'm a little bit crazy because sometimes when something goes wrong and it works out in a way that is not, beneficial to me, for a moment, I'll get lost in it. But in a moment, I will go, well, that wasn't meant for me. There must be something else out there that I'm missing or that I need to pursue.
I like that.
Yeah. And I find that having that belief for so long, now it's very quick for me to say, it's okay. I know that something that, if not better, will be in my life soon, but it might not have that wrapping around it. It'll be an opportunity.
Wow.
And I know that you've got a lot of opportunity coming. So there's something for you to play with.
I like that very much, actually.
Yeah.
And it's true.
It's all about perspective.
Yes. Because we get caught up in whatever it is we think we want or need, and then we can't let go, or even that thought, hey, this isn't for me. Something better or different will come along. That is for me. That's the problem, where we get stuck.
We do, that's right, because we get our attention set into something that we want and we get stuck, like a child. No, I want that, I want that.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, and, we're both, I'm German descent, you're German, I'm using that card to say that I'm strong-willed. And I can be stubborn sometimes too. So I understand what that's like. You have a mission and sometimes you might not know what you do want, but you certainly know what you don't want.
Yes.
And I think that is just as good a guide.
I agree. That's half the rent.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So as long as you take this next part and maybe even that. And you said before that you started journaling your whole journey, and I think that's amazing. I think that you could probably write a book about that.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
especially as the next couple of years go on, and because I see this as a continuing journey of, you know, enlightenment and ascension, and you finding a path in life that didn't look like your path before. And, you know, maybe you as your higher self, maybe you in the form of all your greatness as, you know, that divinity of you, who you
Mm.
are, that part of God who we all have in us. Maybe that higher self came back down and said, there's more, but you need to change your trajectory a little bit.
Yeah.
And we need to make something happen, but it's okay, you'll be all right.
Yes.
That's
That'd
a
be
nice
nice.
way to think of it,
Yeah,
isn't
it
it?
is. It is actually.
Yeah, yeah. But I certainly think you've had some big time angels around you,
Oh,
you know, from the moment, from the moments before it happened, because it was going to happen. You know, your brain was going to have that rupture. The embolism was, is it what do you call it? The
aneurysm.
aneurysm
Yeah, yeah.
was going to rupture. So you it didn't happen in your sleep. It didn't happen at home alone. It didn't happen in the car.
Yeah.
It happened around people,
Yeah.
and
Very
people
lucky.
who were quick acting.
Yes.
So,
'Cause
and then the
TikTok.
team at the hospital, I mean, what angels there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Brian, who, you know,
Yeah.
no, you've got to look at her now.
I know.
You
I
must
know.
come
I
and
know.
see.
I know.
Yeah. So this course of events, it's not by accident. The accident wasn't by accident.
Yeah.
If
It's
that
true.
makes sense.
It's
Yeah.
really true.
Yeah. Yeah. So now I guess it's finding and being open to discovering. And it sounds like you really are. It sounds like to me, you know, from the conversations that we've had, you know, there's a lot of emotion around you discovering this person who you're becoming, and not really understanding where this person has come from,
Mm.
but
No.
she's here now,
Yeah.
and you can't ignore her, and she's got a big voice, and she
Yeah.
won't let you get away with things
No.
that and stay on a path that doesn't fulfill you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I mean, for 55 years, or 54 years at the time, I was this Mel in Germany, lived all over different countries, arrived here 8 years ago, never thought anything like this would happen.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, on one day, everything changed.
Everything changed. Mm.
I mean, maybe I'm blessed that this happened, because not many people can say they've survived this kind of thing. And this is my second chance. And
Mm.
again, not many people have
Mm.
that. Some people never experience such a thing. And it's, even though it is very hard and it's daunting, it's also amazing.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. A second chance
It's,
and a redo. A redo.
yes, yeah,
Not many people get a redo in their life.
no,
And you know, but I think also where you were headed, you wouldn't have been aware that there was anything more, but you're
no,
going to discover more
yeah,
because of this.
yeah,
You would have been quite happy to go along. You thought that life was wonderful.
that
Like you
was
said
it.
to me before, you
Yeah.
said, I had a great life. Had an absolutely wonderful life.
Yeah.
You had a big social life.
Yeah.
You know, your job that you absolutely loved and
Yeah.
lived for, and which you're starting back in now, which is
Yes, yeah,
wonderful.
literally
You
just
know, yeah.
starting, finally, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So, you know, you're starting to take the bites out of things and try them on again, and
yeah,
seeing where everything fits.
yeah,
Yeah. But I suppose the biggest blessing is the people who have been in your life,
oh yes,
the ones who have shown up for you and come back into your life and
been
are there
amazing.
for you again.
And even people, you know, you wouldn't even thought that all of a sudden they're there and you're like, wow.
Mm.
And they really, this is going to sound really dramatic, but they did save my life in the aftermath. I call this the
Yes.
aftermath.
Yeah.
Like that girl who, you know, called me on my birthday, you must be feeling lonely. Shall we go for lunch or for coffee? And they played a big part in that, even if it's just a small thing like a coffee. For me, it was a big thing.
Yeah. Yes. On your birthday, if you are
Yes.
alone.
Yes. Or even
That's
somebody
lovely.
coming round to pick me up in the car, then taking me to the shopping center for my groceries. That paid, you know, for them it's just, of course you would have done the same. You know, they say, yes, I know I would have done the same, but it means a heck of a lot to me, you're doing this now.
Yes, exactly.
So I made sure that I told my guys about that all the time, because they need to know how appreciative I am of it.
Yeah.
And this is what you learn when you have this experience. it's a very humbling experience.
I can imagine. Yes.
Because when you are out there living life, never needing anyone, all of a sudden you find yourself needing people. And that was very hard for me at the beginning.
So you've always been fiercely independent and probably didn't like to need people.
No, I never needed to, because I do it. I do it myself. Don't worry, I do it. Never ever needed anyone.
What a beautiful lesson, though, because receiving in life, receiving is a gift in itself. It's a beautiful gift.
Yeah.
Because you give another person the gift of giving.
Yeah, I know.
And you know what a beautiful gift it is to give. I do. I love giving.
Yeah.
But to be able to receive, I remember when my girls were little, and pretty girls, and people would say, "Oh, you're so pretty," and "Oh, you're lovely," and "I like your dress," and they didn't know what to say. And I said to them one day, I said, when someone does give you a compliment, thank them. Say thank you, and you don't need to say anything else. And I said, because they don't have to say it. No one's making them say anything or do anything. So to receive that compliment is beautiful for you, and that puts you in a place of you've accepted it and you're not uncomfortable, and that person has given the gift.
Yeah.
There has to be a receiver for the giver to have a role, doesn't there?
Yeah.
So to open your heart in receiving mode, I think that's maybe one of your beautiful first lessons in this journey.
Yeah, definitely.
To receive.
That definitely was a lesson for me.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that very much. I was ever so grateful. So, yeah.
Yeah. So do you keep in touch with any of the staff from the hospital? No?
No.
Yeah. They just played.
They've probably already forgotten about me anyway. They've had plenty of other patients. Actually, oh my God, now I remember it. And I don't know why. One of the doctors from Westmead, I saw him when I was walking, doing my rounds, walking in the rehab, walking down the stairs. When you see someone and you go, I know this guy.
Yeah.
Cute guy with the moustache. He was quite, young. And I remember vaguely talking to him at Westmead. That must have been in one of those, either not in the last week, because I would have definitely remembered him. Must have been in the week before or so. But he was one of the doctors he was working with me in my room, and we were talking. And I saw him and he went, "Oh my God, is that really you? Oh my God, I can't wait to tell my team at Westmead that I met you and how amazing you look."
Wow. He was just flabbergasted.
And I was flabbergasted to see him and recognize him. Yeah. And he was flabbergasted because obviously that team at Westmead, I was touch and go so many times. They were part of that, worrying about me, which traumatized them in a way. And then he just passed me on the stairs at the rehab hospital.
And had that moment.
So that's the only person. So he could have
passed the news back to the team. Yes, he did. I'm sure he did. Which is wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I don't know anybody from the team. I don't know. I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they're doing, they're angels, aren't they?
Yes.
These people, like you said, they were beautiful. They were always checking in on you and looking after you.
Yes.
It's their, it's their career. It's their duty in this life. I think, a job like that isn't a job; it's a duty, and it's definitely and that's how I feel like, just in my job as a Pilates teacher, that's in the whole realm of like, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I feel like my role in this life is to do what I do and to make people's lives better in that way. And we each have our role there.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate that I found, my direction in my professional life many years ago, which was wonderful. And I've, I can honestly say I never feel like I've worked a day because it's all a joy and it's a blessing, and I love what I do. And so, I think that when you have these traumatic times, especially something like this, you're going to find more and more joy in everything that you do. But the funny thing is that, you were saying before, some things you don't find as much joy in as you used to, which is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. I do mourn them, actually. Like, I used to love cooking and baking, and I seem to have lost my mojo.
Oh, I was going to say, wow, I can't wait for you to make me some of the things I saw on your Instagram page.
I don't know. Apparently my neurologist said it's a trauma response.
Yeah.
But even, I'm in the shopping aisle and I could buy anything I want, and I don't even know what to buy because I've lost that. I know.
That passion.
Even eating, I'm not eating as passionate as I did before.
Right. Okay.
I'm not enjoying it as much.
Yeah.
So that is that. I don't know where that is.
Okay.
That's. I hope it comes back.
I'm sure it will. And there's a few things that, I can probably help you with along that, and to help, to lift that trauma.
Yeah.
So whatever it's sort of, veiling underneath, that veil can be lifted, and then you can find, maybe the same joys, maybe new, maybe, exacerbated.
Yeah. That would be lovely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
Wouldn't that be nice?
For years I was eating, keto, and I restricted my diet to only certain foods, and now I could buy anything because I've given that up for now because I didn't really need that on top of everything else. So, but I'm standing in front of aisles and I feel
just
nothing.
Confused. Yeah. Oh, okay. No passion for
nothing for
anything in particular.
No,
okay.
nothing.
Right.
No craving for anything.
Right. Okay.
I mean, it's good for my, waistline, I guess. But I did enjoy eating.
Yeah, food is a joy in life. It's so much of who we are, isn't it?
Yes, that's
and if you can, and especially eating with other people too. But even when you can find joy in what you cook for yourself and what you make,
yeah.
So, well, look, you have as much life in you that I saw pre August the 3rd to now, and I just can't wait for your journey to unfold more.
Me neither.
And I can't wait for part 2 to this as well, where we can share, 6 months down the track, how everything's going, and maybe great. What's changed in your life then.
Hopefully you've got a lot more to tell.
Yeah. Oh,
in 6 months.
No doubt. Yeah.
Yes.
I look forward to their journey and what we can, shift in the way of any trauma that you're still holding on to, and what lies beneath that.
Yeah.
And what you may discover that, the higher being of Mel wants to experience in this life on her round 2, take 2.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we wrap up here?
No, I think I'm looking forward to have that veil lifted. That's hanging over my appetite, my passion for food.
Yeah.
Yes. That would be lovely.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for allowing me.
And thanks for saving my life. That was the first step.
My absolute pleasure.
On the 3rd of August.
My absolute pleasure. I was very privileged to have been there and to be a part in your story moving forward.
Because, it's traumatizing, obviously, for me, but it must have been, in a way, a little bit traumatizing for you, too, to have one of your...
It was, yes, because one moment you were laughing with Tracy next to you about, we love feeding straps. Yay, she's doing that today.
I know exactly how that goes.
Yeah. And then the next moment, but, and you did ask me, that was one of the things you asked me when we first met after just a little while ago, like what happened on the day? And I said, it was so peaceful. You just went into a child's pose. You must have felt a little bit funny. So you just went into a stretch and you were so peaceful. There was nothing loud or anything else about it other than very peaceful. So that's how it was. And you were just, we just worked with you and we put you from professional to professional to professional, and look where you are today. So you had a team of angels around. You're being divinely guided.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure. Okay, well, thank you, Mel, for being here today, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.